Building Stuff Like asks, if your shop had to be a 10 by 10 shed, what essential items would be in it? My shop was in a smaller space than a 10 by 10 shed. I had my shop in a 7 by 12. What is that, 84 square feet? Yeah, sure. Math on camera. I have had a smaller shop than that. And in that shop, I had woodworking tools, I had machine tools, I did much of the gunsmithing on the Blade Runner gun in that shop. It's a lovely question. And it is actually a reasonable, it's a reasonable mental exercise to go through, to ask yourself. In fact, actually, there was another question someone had here. There we go. This seems germane to the first question. Travis B says, if you have 2 or more of the same tool, what is your thought process when deciding which one of your extra tools to get rid of? Or do you keep the extras in storage? Mostly, I have kept the extras in storage. Recently, I have been culling a lot. For example, I can't tell you how many pliers I have. Yeah, I got rid of a crap ton of pliers recently, and the tested folks all benefit from this. I just took when I made these drawers, I pulled out a whole bunch of pieces of measuring equipment that was like, not B grade even for me, but it was either redundant, it was mostly redundant, and there's a couple of squares in there that I'm never gonna use because I just don't trust them. But I usually take piles of these and pliers and needle nose pliers and scissors and put them in a bucket. And like anyone comes by, I'm like, look through this stuff, take what you need. I love, like I said this earlier with Simone stuff. I love passing stuff on. When questioning whether to save one or the other thing, I'll tell you that something that came up here is, I've got these nice drop forged Stanley pliers, and technically I might not need to save these that are Japanese and a little less refined, but I like their hand feel, except that these pliers have a spring return. And I really like that. I want all my pliers to have a little bit of a spring return. I really wish they did. And that was enough for me to keep this pair, even though it is functionally identical to the pair right next to it. So I do a little bit of a Marie Kondo when I'm holding tools. I'm like, is this not only useful to me, but does it spark joy? That is a wonderful question to ask about anything, and a wonderful practice to go through. So you asked about if I had a 10 by 10 foot shop. The table saw would go immediately and be replaced probably by a panel saw that would sit up on a shelf, and a chop saw. DeWalt cordless chop saws are mind-blowing now. You can use them all day long, man. I don't own one, but seriously, like the next time I need a chop saw, that's definitely one of going to be in the consideration. Table saw would go. The mill and the lathe would disappear in a 10 by 10 foot shop, but be replaced probably by a Compact 5 MCO. They also made a slightly bigger version. I would maybe invest in something like that. A lot of my tooling would still work for a small lathe like that. Bandsaw would stay the same and be able to fit that in. Drill press, have to have that. I'd probably have one belt sander. I would choose one that was the most versatile. The disc sander, my big 16-inch disc sander, that would absolutely be there. And then I would work very, very, very hard on the infrastructure of that space, on utilizing, maximizing the drawerage, the drawers and the shelves and the cubbies. And my big thing with shelves is shelves should be as narrow as they should be, as shallow as they can practicably be. That is my axiom about shelves. When shelves are like, you make a 12-inch deep shelf, I guarantee you there was something that went behind a thing on that shelf and it is gone. You are never going to see it again until you take that shelf apart and you'll be like, oh, that's where that went. Deep shelves are one of those things like drawers where stuff goes to die. So I try and keep my shelves as narrow as possible, or like over by the lathe, if they're deep, I make carts, shelves, and drawers for them so I can maximize the utility of the depth of that shelf. But all those are Only, well, those are all 12 inches deep. Again, though, nothing goes behind a thing up there on the big storage behind me. Nothing goes behind a thing. Everything stays first order retrievable. Okay, let's do one more. Let's see here. I love that mental exercise. Put your shop into a 10 by 10 foot space, and what would you do? One of the things I'd love to do is build a shop into a Sprinter van. Wouldn't that be fun? Ow. Yes. Oh, this is great. This is a great one to finish on. Trilogy Outliers. It's an interesting username. Trilogy Outliers. Okay. Says, I have scissors and blades devoted to specific tasks. What solvents or processes do you recommend for cleaning scissors? I have found that the adhesive backing on industrial strength adhesive Velcro to be the hardest to remove. I feel you, brother or sister, 100%. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Well, that's where this little dude comes in. And this set has been on my workbench for a few years now. Tom Sachs introduced me to these. This is an acetone dispenser. It is made by Just Right, and you can pick these up on at McMaster Car. They're not cheap. They're like $45 for this little thing, I think. But it is fantastic because it's when you put solvent in it, the solvent doesn't flash away. And I'll show you my practice here. So there you are with you. Oh, look at this. My scissors right here have a bit of exactly that. Industrial Velcro, stick 'em, sitting here on this, and I haven't gotten around to it. So I use acetone, and that's my favorite shop tool for getting rid of that stick 'em. So I put a little acetone on there, rub it, and it's totally gone. Acetone handles this stuff. And so, yeah, this is like, you just depress the top, you just get a few drops of acetone. It is a really efficient thing. So even though this is like kind of an expensive shop edition, I can't recommend it enough because I have it at hand all the time. And I clean my scissors all the time. And the issue, like this stuff I've been cleaning up here is exactly that kind of stickum. And it's awful because you get some on your hand and it gets on other stuff and it sticks you to other stuff. I try not to get it on my hand because I don't like washing my hands with acetone, and nor should you. But that's a terrific question. Thank you, everybody. You know how much I love talking about shop infrastructure. I've got some really fun one-day builds coming up. It was a very productive week last week. There's a lot of show and tells, a lot of builds, a lot of stuff. And Silicon is coming next, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, Saturday and Sunday, August 27th, 28th. SiliconSJ.com is where you get your tickets. I will be there all weekend long. God, we have so many amazing people coming in. Kyle Hill is coming up. The Expanse cast will be there. NASA, Kjell Lindgren will be doing a panel from the International Space Station live during Silicon. I hope to see you there. If I don't, I will see you next time I'm doing a live stream, which will be shortly after Silicon. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you next time. This is Adam out. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.